Welcome to my EdTech Camp 2019 segment on teaching with digital worlds. I'm Matthew Rondina, the guy running around in the jacket. I love gaming and teaching. The two come together in amazing ways. In this segment, I'm going to be showing you all the things you need to know about how you can integrate specific gaming experiences into your classroom. Recently, I did a television segment on 3 games for specific subject areas. Let's take a look.
Welcome to HUD Go, the show you can carry. I'm Morgan Hoffman, so sit back, relax, and pay attention because we're coming in hot today. Dapper Tux has all the tips on learning while gaming.
Change. It's back to school. Now, for many of us, that means it's time to put down the controller and hit the books. Thanks to some modern learning tips, you should be charging up that controller. For history class, you can use a little Assassin's Creed, especially when it comes to learning about ancient Egypt. That's right, gaming you know and love can help you with your homework. The Assassin's Creed series has always taken place in a backdrop based in factual history with fictional character and storyline. You can learn about ancient Egypt with Assassin's Creed Discovery Tour, a new educational mode in AC Origins. This allows you to pick any character from the game, fictional or real, like Cleopatra for example, and explore real-life historical sites. Imagine instead of reading about day-to-day lives of ancient Egyptians, you can immerse yourself in their culture and walk around, talking to people and exploring the environment. My favorite part of the tour is scaling up the pyramids and exploring the architecture and hidden tombs within Giza. You can dive into the history of ancient worlds with 75 interactive tours. The best part of Assassin's Creed Discovery Tour, it is available free now for all players with the base game. Fire up that console or PC and start your homework. Take a journey through animation history with Cuphead. The iconic 1930s rubber hose style of animation is on full display along with its surrealist art style. The game is a lesson in incredible design from start to finish as it uses a lot of techniques from great animation artists such as Max Fleischer and Walt Disney. Chad Moldenhauer, the game's lead designer, revealed that they purposely kept the game at 24 frames per second to match the movement of classic 30s cartoons. It's a great lesson in aesthetic for any aspiring artist. The hand-drawn animation technique has been used by classical animators for decades, but for the first time, it has defined the art direction of a video game. Your art teachers will love it as it blends old-school art and animation with cutting-edge modern art and classical big band jazz. Now, for science class, you can learn some pretty cool lessons with chemistry inside of Minecraft Education Edition. The new Chem update adds element constructor tables that allow you to build your own element by adding the right number of electrons and protons. You can use the material reducer to take Minecraft staples such as dirt, wood, iron ore, and use the new table to break them down into elemental composition of those blocks. You can use one of the most popular games in the world to conduct amazing science experiments. So this year, skip paper and pencils for back to school and jump into some modern learning with your gaming collection.
Now that we have an overview, it's time to get more specific in order to give you the tools to help you meet your learners in new digital worlds. Let's start off with a more in-depth look at Assassin's Creed Discovery Tour, Ancient Egypt. The tour helps to bring ancient Egypt to life for students in a familiar gaming world in the Assassin's Creed universe. There is no violence and students can simply explore a world long forgotten. In order to integrate this experience into your lessons, it requires a gaming platform, either an Xbox One, PlayStation 4, or PC. Along with your gaming platform, one controller and a projector is all you need. Pass the controller around from student to student and allow them to explore in groups the architecture and ways of life of ancient Egyptians. Students can use documentation templates to track their learning as they discover in their learning groups. When we teach, especially about ancient ways of life, one of the most unforgettable experiences we can give students are the ones that allow them to immerse themselves in that world. Don't just teach about ancient Egypt, go there. To be able to see it all come together in front of them in a virtual space that appears to be a living and breathing playground for them to explore and discover creates deeper learning experiences. Reading about the architectural form of the pyramids is one thing, but it's another when we can actually have students virtually scale the structures and let them have a greater spatial awareness and appreciation for the design and complexity of the building. Let's join a tour in progress and see what we can discover. Students can follow the path to various points of interest, completing the tour.
The King's Chamber is built entirely out of red granite. The King's Chamber measures 5.8 meters in height. It has an imposing cover of 5 stacked levels above, with granite beams weighing 25 to 40 tons each. The uppermost level is surmounted by a vault of stones, arranged in chevrons to bear the enormous structural load. As in the Queen's Chamber, 2 shafts extend out from the room towards the north and south faces of the pyramid. They measure nearly 64 meters until they are blocked by copper-handled granite plugs. Some experts in the culture of the Old Kingdom believe that the shafts were thought to lead the king's soul to the stars, with the incarnation of the pharaoh as the god Ra, represented by the northern well, and the god Horus by the southern well. There is a granite sarcophagus at the west end of the room, but it is the concealed construction inscriptions left by workmen on the roof's stones which verify this as the resting place of Khufu. The sarcophagus was recorded as being empty when it was discovered, and its design indicates that there was once a lid in place. It's possible that this sarcophagus is only a cenotaph in memory of the pharaoh, but was never actually meant to receive the body. Khufu's mummy was never found. It is hoped that as of yet undiscovered hidden rooms and shafts of the pyramid may provide an answer as to its location.
Tours exist that cover the sciences and the arts. For example, here we're taking a look at the mummification process. Along the way, we're also getting a look at some of the incredible artwork of the time, painstakingly recreated in 3D for students to explore at their leisure. Speaking of fully realized 3D environments, the Assassin's Creed Discovery Tour is up to the challenge when it comes to students that really wish to explore. For example, here you can see someone running around, jumping, climbing, and taking an unexpected detour to a rooftop. It's a pretty incredible experience that will lend itself naturally to a student's curiosity. Even as we saw with the pyramids, just about every major landmark in Egypt is up for exploration. Nothing is really out of bounds when it comes to the Discovery Tour. You can climb, as I said before, just about anywhere and explore natural land formation and landmarks any way you wish, including jumping right off the top of them. Handing students a controller that they're traditionally used to just playing with really flips the script on learning. In grade 9 art, for example, this would be a great way to introduce Egyptian culture in the arts. Speaking of the arts, now is the perfect opportunity to take a look at our next title. Cuphead is our next title, and one that is great to take a look at in art classes for its incredible animation aesthetic. Created by 2 Canadian brothers that knew little about animation and even less about game development, it's a real testament in the learning environment for what can be accomplished when you put your mind to something and just hit the books, or, in this case, the video game console. As you can see, much of Cuphead's art aesthetic was inspired by 1930s cartoons. In the art classroom, it's the perfect segue to take a look at animation history. Cuphead's art style didn't come out of nowhere. Looking back at animators like Walt Disney and their creative processes at Disney Studios is a great way to launch the entire unit. Using Cuphead as a jumping off point in the creative process, you can take a close look at storyboarding all the way up to animation, conceptualization, as well as colorization. In a media arts classroom, it's extremely important to show students what can happen with a creation when you bring in more traditional mediums with newer technologies. Looking at each step in the creative process is extremely important, going from hand-drawn artwork to digital painting, while explaining along the way what career opportunities are available at each stage in the creative process. For example, here we see a colorization artist hard at work doing their part in order to create a final character in the game. Now, we need to take a look at the whole picture to understand how Cuphead works and functions as a game. Letting students play the cohesive final product in the form of one level really shows what Cuphead is all about. So let's take a look at one of the game's early levels in its entirety. The graphic and audio design come together to create one cohesive final experience for the player. All the backgrounds our hero Cuphead is hopping along are hand-painted. Cuphead's really excited that we're using him in our learning. Just look at him hopping around. Another great hook with using Cuphead in your art lessons, besides being a traditional video game, is the fact that it's extremely hard. I often like to use it as a fun challenge with students. Does anyone in the class think they can beat this level? Before they know it, they are experiencing a piece of art. After experiencing Cuphead as a class, you can talk about how everything in the game began first with a storyboard. Storyboarding is key to visual storytelling, so it's an easy way to make a lot of connections in your classroom, whether it's art or even possibly English. Storyboarding is a great way to connect all sorts of short stories and basic plot lines to things happening on screen or whatever's happening to your characters. The creation of actual characters can be done by hand for this activity using traditional tools such as pencils, pens, paints, really any traditional media that a student is comfortable working with. For the best outcome, students should try to create something very much akin to Cuphead in his earliest form. Black lines on stark white paper. This is so that it can be scanned into a program like Photoshop. In Photoshop, the black lines can be separated and later put into their own layer so that students can insert and add their own colors. Just as Cuphead is onto a new level in the game, we're onto a new level in our learning and creative process. Thus far, we've developed a storyboard, developed our characters, inked them by using thick black marker or pen, and finally prepared them for color separation in a program like Photoshop. Inside of Photoshop, now that the actual image is ready and fully colorized, it can be exported to an animation program such as Flash. Adobe Flash is a great way to show students many animation fundamentals. Using different keyframes as well as motion tweens, students begin to get an early look at some animation fundamentals, going from static, flat paper into a digital format that is now something that they can animate. On to another new level, and it's time to animate our creations with our students. The general expectation on your first outing with an animation shouldn't be necessarily trying to hit something at the caliber of Cuphead, as the game development took years and years and years. But for students, just to, as I said before, understand a few basic animation fundamentals and go through the creative processes looking at color theory, inking, as well as understanding new software packages like Adobe Photoshop and Flash. In Adobe Flash, students can use layers to add an image like you see in the background above. Another layer can be added to place a character like Cuphead on a linear path to follow. It won't be as interactive in comparison to what we see on screen at this point, but you'll still have a character that's following a path and being guided by the arrow keys on someone's keyboard moving around the screen. Finally, now that we have some motion on our screens, what makes most animations really stand apart from others is sound. Sound design is so important because it gives our animations that extra layer of life. The 1930s animation style of Cuphead just wouldn't seem complete without some sort of big band jazz in the background. What makes Cuphead so great is its music. Looking at all the professionals, creative positions that are associated with the massive production like video game creation, shows everyone how important it is to collaborate with others. Looking at all the composers and musicians that worked long hours on the game gives students a deeper understanding of what it takes to produce something of this scale. If you decide to work towards your own animation with students in class, they might want to see if they can collaborate with the music department to get help creating their very own soundtrack. Students at this point might start feeling the time crunch, like a big deadline is chasing them down. But they can rest assured they're almost at the end of the creative process when it comes to creating an animation. Now it's all about putting all of the creative elements together that you've learned and compiled thus far. We've gone from character design to storyboarding, colorizing in Photoshop, and now finally animation and music. Bravo! We did it! Next, we're looking at Minecraft Education Edition. When you think Minecraft, just think Lego blocks inside of a digital world that you can actually build with. Again, the applications for this game are pretty boundless. You've got applications with science, art, mathematics, and even drama. Really anything where you can dream up a structure or some sort of element, there's going to be an application for Minecraft. My grade 10 media arts class was able to use Minecraft to create their very own compositions as well as design levels for their own video games. In order to effectively use Minecraft, you would need access to a cluster of PCs as well as the actual official game license. Many of the worlds exist on servers hosted by Microsoft, so there is no worry about the game taking up too much space or the worlds becoming too onerous on your school's network. Creators out there have even pre-built entire worlds where students can tell their own unique stories with a wide variety of characters. It has some great applications as students can script write as well as place the cameras at different angles and insert sound effects and music tracks to express the emotions of each of their own characters. Students in a math or tech classroom could use the tools in Minecraft to design their very own home, calculating rise over run, and then applying it within the game world. There are so many incredible applications for Minecraft in both an elementary and high school setting. The best part is that a majority of students already understand the systems within the game. Meeting our students in their own digital worlds will lead to more impactful, deeper learning opportunities. Thank you for taking the time to join me today at EdTech Camp 2019.